A group of 4 people is preparing to row 3,700 kilometers across the Atlantic Ocean to set a world record. But in the middle of the endless water, a conflict turns their journey into a nightmare. The film, whose original title translates as Row and How to Scandalize, opens on the vast Atlantic Ocean, where a blood-stained boat rocks on the waves with a couple of bodies on board. A frightened Megan peeks out from a small cabin, clutching a knife. The story shifts to a small hotel. A young woman is lying in bed, being cared for by some people. They want to know if she remembers what happened. Megan is hit with flashbacks. She is driving with her mother along the coast of Newfoundland, Canada, an island near the Labrador Peninsula, which is ironic, since both of those place names are also dog breeds. The young woman is watching a video of her team of travelers on her smartphone. Together, they plan to row across the Atlantic Ocean in a rowing boat to break the speed record for such a journey. Arriving at the dock early in the morning, she finds a stranger named Mike in the boat's forward hold. He's the new crew member. Next to arrive are Daniel, the organizer of the event and owner of the boat, and then Lexi, Megan's friend. After loading their necessary belongings into the boat, the crew sets off at dawn. Waking up in the forward hold in the morning, Megan comes out on deck, where the men are rowing and Lexi is sitting at the stern, bragging about the fish she caught. When Megan is handed the catch to hold, she throws it overboard because it's gross. Over breakfast, they find out that Daniel left the water boiler on shore. Extra weight slows down the boat, so they have to mix their rations with cold water. Another day passes like this. The men row all the way until sunset. On the 3rd day, Lexi records a video diary. It turns out the group spent 2 years preparing for the journey. They have less than a month to cover 3,700 kilometers. 28 days later, they're supposed to be at their destination, so they row in pairs, taking 2-hour shifts. When Megan regains consciousness, Detective McKelly talks to her. He explains that she was found dehydrated and exhausted, but now she's safe. The detective wants to know what happened to the rest of her companions. During the night watch, the girls notice that the rudder is stuck, causing the boat to veer off course. In the morning, Mike puts on a wetsuit and dives into the water to fix the problem. The cause of the malfunction is a piece of rubber wiring that got stuck in the gap. There's a bunch of trash floating in the sea. Daniel says that because of this trash, they lost control of the rudder. The engine burned out. Then he throws the rubber back into the ocean. Let some other fool find it. In the evening, Daniel mutters under his breath that someone must have sabotaged the accident, casting suspicious glances at the others.
It's like someone planted it there. Damn rubber.
On the island, Megan explains to the detective that Mike was new to the company. Adam, Lexi's boyfriend, was supposed to go with them, but shortly before departure he broke his leg. So Daniel quickly found a replacement in Mike, a guy they didn't know before. Megan finds out that Lexi had a fight with Adam, suspecting him of cheating, so she's not answering his calls. However, her friend doesn't want to discuss this sensitive issue. The team keeps rowing across the ocean, despite the equipment failures. Soon, it's Lexi's birthday. They celebrate it by singing songs and drinking the alcohol they brought along. Not many people can brag about celebrating their birthday in the middle of the ocean. Only SpongeBob and the Little Mermaid. However, the festivities are interrupted by someone throwing up. Mike, not used to it, gets sick, and Daniel teases him about it.
Aren't you ashamed to be such a wimp? Not everyone has to be a drunk, right?
But there are bigger problems to worry about. A thunderstorm is approaching the boat. The bad weather, besides giving off gloomy St. Petersburg vibes, brings with it giant waves that could easily capsize their fragile little boat, crashing down with the full force of the sea. However, the travelers got lucky. They survived the storm. Mike is laid up with a fever in the cabin, which is decorated with motivational quotes, for several days. Daniel is worried that without a rower they will fall behind schedule and not set the record. Lexi takes care of the sick man, covering him so that he doesn't get pneumonia. Later, the girl receives a call on a satellite phone from Adam. Overcome by emotion, she accepts it, but the interlocutor greets Megan.
Hi, Maggie.
This gives the girl interesting thoughts. She accuses her friend of stealing her boyfriend. The brewing quarrel takes an unexpected turn. A half-naked Mike emerges from the cabin with a knife and a crazy look. He is sure that there is some Rachel on board, asking his comrades where they hid her. Lexi tries to talk sense into him to take the knife away. When she manages to do that, Daniel hits the sick man on the head with an emergency buoy. While he's coming to his senses, McKelly tells Megan that the police couldn't find any evidence that the aforementioned Mike ever existed. Not only that he got on the boat, but even the very fact of his existence.
There are no records of Mike Rogelio boarding your boat.
Daniel is talking to his father on the satellite phone when Mike, having recovered from his fever, comes to. He doesn't remember his outburst of rage, and the others, prompted by Lexi, just mention that he was sleepwalking. While the girl is feeding him, Megan on the island sinks even deeper into her flashbacks. One day, arriving early for boat practice, she found her friend and Lexi sleeping in the cabin. She wanted to slip away unnoticed, but the guy came out to talk. From their conversation, it becomes clear that something happened between them behind Lexi's back. Tormented by doubts, Daniel sits in the cabin when Mike tells him he can share his feelings if he wants to. Instead, the captain calls his father in the middle of the night to clarify something. The conversation catches Megan's attention, and she sneaks up on the man, startling him. During the day, it turns out that the battery is almost dead. It needs to be recharged manually with a dynamo, which means turning off the water desalination unit for a while. Mike takes out the battery to charge it while Daniel and Lexi row. By evening, the weather gets worse and the waves grow stronger. One of the waves crashes into the boat and flips it over. The travelers end up overboard. Thanks to the safety ropes attached to the sides of the boat, the current doesn't carry them away in different directions. Mike and Daniel, from underwater, manage to flip the boat back over. Megan, tangled in a rope, starts to drown. Memories of this incident give her nightmares on the island. Mike pulls the girl out of the water. After the storm, while checking the equipment, Daniel asks Mike to reconnect the battery. Suddenly, it turns out that Mike didn't close the waterproof compartment's latch, so water got in during the storm and ruined the battery. Now they're left without any instruments at all. They'll have to navigate by the stars. While the captain charts the course, Lexi dives into the water to scrape off the barnacles from the hull with a knife. Meanwhile, Megan thanks Mike for saving her.
Thank you. I owe you one.
Later, when the girls wake up, they notice a pack of vegetable rations in the cabin. Unhappy with the menu, Lexi brings out the supplies on deck to take inventory. It turns out they have much fewer provisions than they originally brought with them. They only have enough food left for 9 days. The ever-optimistic and resourceful commanders suggest they row faster to reach the shore within that time. When he later orders Mike and Lexi to row, despite their exhaustion and blisters, a sudden realization hits her. She realizes that Daniel threw out the supplies to motivate them to move faster. That way, they'll be able to set a record. When he confesses under the weight of the evidence, Lexi lunges at him with her fists, and then, recalling the immortal classic "I'll kill you," Boatman starts whacking him with an oar. In the evening, when everyone has scattered to their cabins, Mike pays the girls a visit. He says he could kill Daniel by cutting his safety line and pushing him overboard. No one would ever find out. Megan objects, saying that they would know. So the guy suggests they just tie up the captain if he starts acting crazy. Left alone, Lexi tells her friend that she's scared, but not of Mike, she's afraid of Daniel. His obsession with the record could cost all of them their lives. Nevertheless, in the morning, they keep rowing. According to their calculations, there are 1,300 kilometers left to Ireland, which they need to cover in 5 days. The crew refuses to push themselves to the limit after being treated like this. On top of that, they discover that the bags with their drinking water supplies have leaked, and without a desalination device, they can't get any more. Noticing a knife cut on the bag, Daniel accuses Mike, recalling how he threatened them in a delirious state. After that, the captain rummages through his comrade's bag to find a photo of Rachel. He wants to show it to the girls, but at that moment the others decide to attack him and tie him up. As soon as Megan hesitates and doesn't hand over the rope, Lexi reaches for it herself. Struggling, Daniel pushes her. She falls and hits her head. After tying up Daniel, Mike helps Megan stitch up the wound on her head. During the process, the captain says that, at his request, his father found out something about Mike. He killed his girlfriend Rachel and went on this trip with them, hiding from the law under a fake name. Mike denies the accusations unconvincingly. Later, while everyone is asleep, the tied-up Daniel tries to reach for a knife to free himself. But Megan is alert and on guard. She also tied up the sleeping Mike, not wanting to tempt fate. Threatening her companion with a knife, she orders them to continue toward the nearest shipping lane to get help for the injured Lexi. After that, she unties the men so they can row, before they get into even more trouble. When Lexi comes to, Daniel says it was an accident. He doesn't want to take the blame, threatening to accuse his companions of mutiny. After the conversation, despite the bad weather, Daniel keeps rowing and rowing as long as he has the strength. When he can't go on, Mike and Megan take over for him. Meanwhile, the captain gives the revived Lexi some water, after which her friend finds her cold, lifeless body. The boat heads toward the shipping lanes, where the travelers launch a flare into the night, hoping to attract help. But they are left to fend for themselves in the midst of the raging storm. A towering ninth wave nearly capsizes the boat, but instead washes everyone overboard, including Lex's body wrapped in a black bag. Megan, using her safety harness, climbs back into the boat. She sees that the men are nowhere to be found, but when Daniel appears, the girl, blaming him for her friend's death, unclips his safety harness instead of helping him. The current carries the captain away from the safety of the boat. Then Mike surfaces from under the water. She helps him climb aboard, deciding that one kill is enough for her moral satisfaction. They continue drifting towards safety. Megan ostentatiously finishes off the last of the fresh water, not wanting to share it with Mike. It's his job to row, and hers to sit with a knife. The next day, she brings up Rachel. The guy says that she dumped him. One time he got drunk and was late for their meeting, and when he arrived, she was already gone. He hasn't seen her since. Moved by his heartbreaking story, Megan gives him the rest of the water, admitting that she doesn't deserve to survive. She killed Daniel by unclipping the carabiner. Noticing that the girl put the knife on his side of the boat, Mike confesses in return. He actually killed Rachel, stabbed her during an argument, and then dumped her body in the lake. Realizing what she's done, Megan lunges for the knife, but Mike doesn't hurry to stop her. He waits for her to slit his throat. The girl realizes that he isn't some bloodthirsty maniac, and is so remorseful for what he's done in a fit of passion that he's ready to die from guilt. She lowers the knife, but the ocean, tired of this soap opera, gives a little wave. Losing her balance, Megan accidentally stabs her companion in the stomach. However, the girl bandages the wound, and together they continue drifting, collecting rainwater in a bucket to drink. Mike comforts Megan when she has a breakdown from wanting to see her mom. She even starts hallucinating, seeing her mother on the island, but when she wakes up, the maid tells her that the police have found someone from her crew and will soon bring them in for a face-to-face identification. In the evening, Mike tries to catch a seagull that landed on the boat, but he fails. But in the morning, he manages to catch a fish with a fishing rod. After tossing the catch onto the deck, the man, weakened from blood loss, collapses overboard. Too exhausted to grieve, Megan eats the catch raw, pulling a fishing hook out of its guts as she does. Before it died, the fish had swallowed a whole collection of hooks, having angered quite a few fishermen. In the morning, she spots an island ahead, the very beach where she was later found unconscious, after making it ashore with her last ounce of strength. From her window, Megan sees the police bringing someone to her, but she can't tell who survived, Daniel or Mike. She leaves her room to meet the visitor, but Detective McKelly politely escorts her back, handcuffing her to the bed to prevent any incidents. When the visitor arrives, it turns out to be Adam. Left alone with her, he asks why the others didn't come back, noting that the water bags are leaking. Megan realizes that he sabotaged the trip, wanting to delay it so his broken leg could heal, and he could go with them. She accuses him of causing their friends' deaths. In addition to his personal grudge against Megan for breaking up with him, Adam doesn't believe Mike exists, since he used a fake name, and neither do the police. He also tells the detective that when he saw his friends off, there were only 3 of them in the boat. Macaulay reports that Lex's body was found in the water. And if there's a body, there's a case. He accuses Megan of killing Daniel's girlfriend and arrests her. While a TV report airs about the body of a missing girl named Rachel, whose boyfriend Mike was suspected of her murder, a boat takes Megan to the mainland to face a long sentence. That's where the movie ends.